Welcome to Spotlight on Connected to India. My guest on today's Spotlight is author, film critic, film journalist Shoma Chatterji. In today's podcast, we will be talking to her about her latest book, and the book is on the one and only Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Shomadi, welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you very much, Himanshu, for having me here.
I'm glad that we have you on the Spotlight. You have the distinction of being the only woman journalist who has won 2 national awards for the best book on films and the best critic. What did you do differently, and how come your accomplishment has not been replicated?
I think it's good because there are only 2 national awards every year. So if they give it to the same person, the regional writers also get neglected. So they try to give it to regional writers, not only to those who write in English. So I think that's a welcome gesture.
So, coming to your book and the other, so many books have been written about Mr. Bachchan. And
Yeah.
so, what is it that you have covered and the other? And additionally, you have taken about 15 films from 1970 to 1990, which is the peak of
Yes.
his career. However, he
Yeah.
acted in 101 films. So, what was your
Yeah.
criteria of selection?
My argument in every chapter is to show how he is not only the angry young man. I'm not taking away the angry young man away from him, but I'm showing that he is much more than the angry young man. He is the other. Now, what do you mean by the other? Those who are marginal, even
Hmm.
women, for example. The Western perspective also includes women in the other,
Hmm.
but Indian women, then the coolie, the smuggler, the don, these are the other.
Hmm.
So how does and he has such a fantastic background. So how did he fit into the role of the other? That is another other. So he is the other in that other also. So he is the son of Himanshu Bachchan, and how can his son become a Don or the Vijay in Devar or Vijay in Sholay or pickpocket and all that, pocket mar, coolie? That fascinated me a lot. And I took these 15 films, and in the beginning, I'm giving a short synopsis. Then I'm analyzing the whole film. And then in every chapter, I'm explaining why I consider him the other. I'm very happy that I wrote this book. I'm really, after every book, I'm very happy. Maybe it's very bad for the reader. I don't know. But I feel very happy because I think I've achieved something.
And has your book reached Mr. Bachchan? Have you heard back from him? Any reaction?
Yeah, I've heard back from him today only, but it hasn't read because the book is not out yet. That is a simple thing. And
Yeah.
the book launch is going to be attended. The chief guest is Mr. Prashanjit, who is of Bengali cinema.
Who was sort of the Amitabh Bachchan of Bengali cinema.
Yeah, Amitabh Bachchan. Yes, he's there for 40 years now.
Yeah.
So he said, you give me 2 copies because I'll give one to Mr. Bachchan and one I'll keep for myself. So I said, okay. Yeah.
When Amitabh Bachchan was at the peak of his career, you must have been at the peak of your career. So I want to ask you about your interactions, when you met him in person, rather, and some anecdotes you'd like to share with us from those instances.
First thing is, we won the national award together.
Oh,
All
nice.
right. Yeah, the first time, 91, it was his first national award and my first national award. But I had interviewed him once before that on the sets of Akela. He was not very exciting. All
Hmm.
the 3 times I'm talking about. Then I interviewed him in his home. I get a phone call. And he says, where do you live? I said, I'm in Mulund. And he said, will you be here in 1 hour? I said, yes, I'll be there in 1 hour. I was welcomed inside in the outer office. And Mr. Bachchan comes down about 45 minutes later. And there was a tea lying on the table. And I never take the tea which is offered by the host unless the host asks me to. So the tea had become cold. So he said, kya hua, aapne chai nahi pi? So then I told him, no. I don't drink. I don't want tea. So he understood, I think, and he ordered for a fresh cup of tea, and that I took. So that day he spoke in Hindi, and my God, what Hindi! I was melting in my knees because I was not as old as I am now. Really, I'm telling you the truth.
Did
That
you
time
did
you
you have
had
a
this.
crush on him, Shomadi? It is sounding
Yes,
like
of
you had a crush
course.
on him. You did.
Yeah, terrible. Not only I, 3 generations, my mother, myself, and my daughter. That is Amitabh Bachchan. Now I don't. But
Amazing.
I did really have. Yeah. I really did have. Yeah, I will not deny that.
What's the behind the scenes stories about Amitabh Bachchan and Rekha?
I don't really know. How do I believe it?
Okay.
Because not that I idol worship them or anything, but it's very difficult to authenticate these stories.
Since I'm speaking to you, I would like to know uh, from that era when Amitabh Bachchan was so big, give us names of a few other actors which you love to engage with.
Ashok Kumar. Sunil Datta interviewed him in his office. Devanand, the best. The best interview I've ever done is that of Devanand. Such a lovely person he was, so warm. He held me by the hand and took me to that Nauketan Studios window, and he said, "This is where I and Gurudat stayed." When I asked him, at that time I asked him, "What about your affairs with these leading ladies who seem to be
Yeah.
having affairs with every
Yeah.
leading lady?" So he
Yeah.
said that I'm still married to Kalpana Karthik. No? Why are you asking me this question? But Jitendra was the best. I said, who do you think is number two? Number one is obviously Amitabh Bachchan. So he said, yes, Amitabh Bachchan. He said, I am number 10 because Amitabh is holding the ranks from 1 to 9.
That's
And
very
I
candid.
went to him. Yeah, very candid. I loved it. The ladies were a little bit, not very welcoming to my kind of interview. To Rakhi, she said yes, and then she was very rude to me, and that was a long time ago when you're talking about. And then her daughter came on the line and she said, "Don't disturb my mother. She's not going to give you an interview." I don't
Okay.
touch those who don't want to be touched.
So, Shomadi, we're going to change gears a bit. And I want to ask you your opinion, considering your experience, on representation of Indian women in television and cinema. And a sub question to that is between cinemas like Hindi cinema, Malayalam, Tamil, Bengali, who handles it better?
And so far as the representation is concerned, it's a mixed bag. But Calcutta is not very good in representation of women in media. Calcutta is not very good because they don't make many heroine-oriented films, and even if they want to make, they cannot make. Aparna Sen was the only one who really made very good, powerful films.
I mean, on this subject, what did you think of Animal?
Oh my God, I've written a very, very bad review about it because I didn't like it at all. I
Thank
don't
you.
think it was only derogatory to women, it was also derogatory to men. Look at the language he's using with that laundry person. It's not just toxic masculinity, it's not masculinity at all. And calling it animal is an insult to animals.
Talking about Bengali cinema, I must ask you
Yeah.
this question. You have seen the Holy Trinity, the Ritik, Katak, Satyajit Ray, and Mrinal Sen. How do you compare the three? Who do you think is the greatest amongst the three?
Among them, who is the supreme one? If you ask me, to be very fair, I would say Ritik Bhatt. All three are great in their own ways because they had different approaches. Their perspectives were very different.
So, Shimadi, this brings us to the rapid fire section. I'm going to throw some question at you and would like you to respond to them. If there was one of the characters out of Amitabh Bachchan films, not the actor himself, but one of the characters you'd like to date, who would that be?
Vijay in Shakti.
Okay. Uh, Out of the three roles of Amitabh Bachchan, the angry young man, the dramatist, or the funny man, which one is your favorite?
The Angry Young Man.
Okay. The most overhyped and underrated actors for both male and female in India currently.
I like that guy in Deol.
Abhay
Deol.
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 Abhay Deol.
Yeah. He is one of them. And among the girls,
Yes,
Hani
correct.
Khusruti. Yeah.
Yeah. And who is the most improved actor and actress?
I think Shah Rukh is one of them. Shah Rukh, among the actors, he has improved a lot. And among the actresses, this girl who won the national award this year,
Alia Bhatt.
yeah, she's very talented, but she has flowered like anything. She has matured herself. And Gangubai Hangal, she
Yeah.
deserves the award. I loved her in a Gangubai. It was not an easy role.
A hypothetical question: if US said, "Okay, this is the last film you can rewatch," which film will that be?
Mahanagar.
Mahanagar.
Rez, Mahanagar. Yeah.
Okay. Three things a film critic should always have. Three characteristics.
Three characteristics.
Yeah.
One is not to mingle with the film people at all.
Mhm.
All right, to keep a distance. Do your homework well because I find lots of mistakes that they make. And three, remain as objective as possible. Don't allow your fandom to interfere into your writing. I never do it.
Shivadi,
These are
if you
the
were
three
not a
things.
film critic and film journalist, what career would you have pursued?
That is going to be very shocking for you. A dancer. It should be because I grew up learning two kinds of classical schools, Kathak and Bharatanatyam, from very big gurus, very, very big gurus.
You did very well in your rapid fire. Thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed speaking to you.
Even I enjoyed it very much because he allowed me to talk whatever I wanted to.
Wish you all the best and for your book.
For my launch.
For your launch.
You'll
Yes.
get a book.